Hey, Sin. Who's the lad on LGD-X? Is it Xiao 2 then? Is that LGD?
Who's who?
X.
MMY.
That's
Oh wait, no. MMY is MMY.
Xiao 2 then.
ROTK?
Oh wait, one more about, yeah. Yeah, it's not
Doing ROTK, right?
Yeah.
Why is he called X?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds. Cloud9's taken to bed.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yes, I am, boy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Stream 2. We've got LGD-Gaming going up against the side of Cloud9. I'm OD Pixel. I'm going to be joined by Cinderin here for this best of 3. It is, of course, the first round of this group stage today. And Cinderin, the draft so far, nothing too surprising.
No, it's very standard in this metagame right now that Tusk is the overall first pick. There's been a couple of series we've seen where he got picked late, and that was surprising for me. And Cloud9 grabbing a Shadow Fiend first on the Radiant, also pretty normal here. As are pretty standard as well. I'm not sure what Cloud9 are gonna grab here. Slardar is available. That's maybe the biggest surprise so far is how far he's going into the draft.
Yeah, I mean, Slardar, I mean, if they're able to get it, here's the third pick. If LGD themselves ignore it in terms of the picks and bans, that would be really, with a Shadow Fiend and a Dazzle, already the physical DPS is going to be off the charts. We'll see what LGD do now here with this second pickup. It's going to be the AA, so something to counteract, obviously, the healing and potentially the grouping up the Cloud9 might look to do with the Dazzle and his Shadow Wave and the SF with a potential early mechanism. So always nice to pick up. And the Broodmother being banned out as well, just, you know, not a hero that you want to let through, and a hero that someone like AA can't really deal with in the lane as a support.
There's been a couple of games where Brood just won the game, more or less, with a surprise pick. We've seen it in Phase 2, sometimes even 5th pick. I think that's happened once in the tournament. And here's another meta hero that just gets banned out. Very standard so far from both teams. The Ember Spirit ban out from Cloud9. Very popular hero for this moment as well. And you got to think about what players you're playing against. Maybe is an incredible Ember Spirit player. Perhaps the best player in the world in this hero.
You reckon? Okay.
He's one of top 3. I think top 3 are maybe Ferrari and Sumail in this hero.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
You wouldn't put E kind of
He's probably
on the edge?
I guess he's 4th.
He's getting better.
Yeah, it's hard. I haven't seen his Ember Spirit play enough compared to the others, and I'm mainly referring to TI5 and their performance there.
Oh, okay. I mean, at the Nonyon, it was very good. E's Ember, it was certainly a turn up. But okay, Night Stalker being banned out here from by the side of LGD, and the win range is going to be taken away from by Cloud9. They're actually going to go in with that Clockwork pick here at this section, so cementing their offlaner. So now LGD might be able to try and pick something around that with this third pick. I mean, still,
but why aren't you picking Slardar?
I was gonna, they
have
the
Dazzle
Slardar.
Shadow
We forgot
Fiend.
about,
It's insane.
Well, for that moment, the
great
Slardar.
minus armor strat. A little bit surprising for me that C9 are not grabbing it. They might think it's overrated or that they have the counters for it.
Do they not play on the offlane C9? Is it just something
That's
they don't
another
do?
possibility. Well, even if they don't, they could safe lane it here too. I think it's a very good pick. Guess we should clarify, by the way, we were talking about this before we went live. It's a little confusing that it's seemingly MMY and X, his old alias, are playing on the same team.
Oh, that was what MMY used to call himself.
Yes, he used to call himself X double exclamation mark. But that is ROTK, captaining LGD-Gaming. Not sure why he changed to MMY's old nickname.
Maybe MMY is just controlling both.
MMY was known as Weapon X because he used that name, and in Dota 1, there was a phase when he was regarded as perhaps the best mid laner in the world. He doesn't. He
Really?
plays support now.
Back in the day.
In
he
the
was...
2010 version of eHome, which was the best, perhaps the best team of all time relative to its competition at the time.
Oh, he was just what?
They were
miles ahead of everyone else.
Extremely good. That time, MMY did play mid as X double exclamation mark. He was incredible. But yeah, RTK may be honoring his current teammate. It's strange. I have never seen this before, but as a gyro for Sylar, most likely very clear comfort pick for LGD-Gaming, and one of his best.
Yes, absolutely. Another real signature pick, and something that works very nice, of course, with the Tusk when they start to look for the early fights. So Tusk comes around, joins the lane for a bit of a gank, just getting themselves in there nice and close and personal with the Rocket Barrage cooldown, and also something that I guess you can kind of use to play around the Clockwork. I mean, we've seen before situations where Clockwork goes in, he cogs someone on the enemy side, but then the Tusk is able to throw the shards into the cogs, and he can actually push out their allies and save them from being trapped.
And easily just snowball through
and pick them up on the way.
Grab them on the way.
Yeah.
I think Tusk is one of the absolute best heroes in Dota against Clockwork. So another reason that it's a little bit surprising we see it from Cloud9, it might just be that big of a comfort pick for them, that they feel like it's worth it, or they have some sort of follow-up here that's going to justify the Clockwork a lot more. It's going to be a Bane, which also went in pretty far in the draft relative to its status in the pro scene right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's a great pick against Gyro, though. I really like it against Gyro. And Feeble ruins Flat Cannon, and he's a hero who has to come in fairly close to attack. At least one key target for the Flat Cannon to work, and you can grip him from a distance.
Yeah, I guess looking at LGD's draft so far, the fact that they are going to be relying on that flat cannon damage in these fights, and especially if Cloud9 can get the armor ticking up with the weave, and as you said, that if they gyro, as damage is really negated by that enfeeble, it's going to really hinder LGD when they come to the fights. But we'll see what they pick up here with this fourth pick. Still looking really for that mid laner and that second support, if that Tusk is indeed going to be on the off lane as we've come to expect it. We'll see what they do in response here. I mean, do they need to worry more about this Bane in terms of getting stuff to cancel it? And okay, well, there we go. So they pick themselves up Alina, someone that's going to be able to play around the Bane kind of nicely, something else that's going to be able to offer to interrupting the Fiend's grip. We'll possibly see the Yules come out for the man. And also another hero, I guess, that can kind of work nicely around the clock. If the clock ever goes in cogs, yes, he can hit himself out, but there's going to be that little bit of time where Lina can kind of walk in and try and get the stun out with a light strike to start a fight going the favor of LGD's way.
It's also a multi-purpose pick. It can go mid, and they can do the classic dual lane off lane Tusk Lina, which is very powerful. So they keep their options open here, and Cloud9 don't know for sure what this hero is doing. So they're going to ban a support in Bounty Hunter, expecting this to be a mid laner for LGD. And with LGD having the final pick, they could completely turn this around on Cloud9 and get a mid laner that they weren't expecting. Because at this point, they're thinking, okay, it's probably a Lina mid against our Shadow Fiend. They're mentally preparing for how they're going to deal with that situation and draft their fifth pick around it. And if they swap it around for LGD, that could be a pretty nice move here.
Yeah, and I really do like seeing Lina's being picked up against a lineup with the Dazzle, because it really kind of makes, in every fight there's going to be the mind games with the Dazzle. It doesn't matter if the hero's still got a fair bit of health, you've always got to be worried about that Laguna Blade burst, so that you've got a kind of preemptively shallow grave, which then has the side of LGD. You can play around, and you know that Dazzle's going to be forced to use it earlier and earlier each team fight as Lina kind of scales up through the game. So I like in that sense. And so LGD with the final ban, they take away the clinks. I mean, kind of like the Slardar in the sense that it's a physical DPS position one that's going to be able to roam around the map, be very aggressive, and with the Dazzle and the SF, there's going to be that synergy. So taking that away from Cloud9, I mean, Slardar is still there, and they do have a Bane in the lane if they want to try and set up something, you know, closing that with the Crush. Do you think they're still thinking about that, or at this point are they're just not interested in the Slardar this game?
Seconds remaining.
I think if you're interested, if you're interested in Slaughter, you would have picked it already.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Razor is an interesting choice. It's a secondary way of draining or removing physical damage from a single target. It's good with Bane. It's good against Gyro. They're targeting Sylar very hard this game. I would imagine the Clockwork is even going to go for a Blade Mail, which allows the hero to actually dual Gyrocopter in the cogs, whereas if you don't have it, you just die every time you hook shot in, basically. It's an Earthshaker last, so it is a maybe Lina in the mid lane, and they will be running double supports with a Shaker and an offlane Tusk. Most likely, they could also play Shaker offlane and support with the Tusk if they think it's better. Do you think you want the levels on your Tusk this game?
Yes. So you'd imagine they're not going to do the Shaker offline.
Yeah,
You think
I
they'll
think
put
it's
the Tusk
too
in that
risky.
position?
It's
Yeah.
also not that good anymore, and it's a very difficult game to play Core Shaker in against the Clockwork.
Yeah.
Primarily, but also the lane he's going to have if he goes off lane will be very difficult for him to handle.
Yeah. Okay, and it looks like... Oh, we'll see if that is going to be the case. So, RTK at the moment, putting himself on the Shaker. And we'll see how that correlates to in-game. But, I mean, it kind of draft-wise overall, do you feel that anyone's coming out with a stronger upper hand here, or do you think both have got a clear game plan and both can work in this matchup?
I like LGD's draft more. I know the team's playstyle and players quite a bit better than Cloud9. But just from an LGD perspective, they've got everything they like. They're very much 5-man oriented. They like playing late game. They're very good at defending high ground. Pushing high ground against this team is an absolute nightmare. There are so many traps you walk into. You can get Fissure blocked. You can get Ice Sharded in. There's a cooldown that can follow through. If you get hit by Ancient Apparition ult, that can set you up. Like the number of options LGD have, and that's just for high ground defense. You can transfer a lot of that into just regular team fights where LGD's options are plenty, and I feel like Cloud9's is a little bit more limited in what ways they can engage. A lot of pressure is actually on the Clockwork to set them up.
Indeed, I know obviously we said talking in the draft, they feel very confident in picking up Clock for MSS. There's a lot of other options that we've seen other teams go for very different decisions like the Slardar, but Clock nonetheless was the pickup, so they have a lot of faith in this hero, so we'll see if it's going to be rightfully put there. At the moment, LGD positioning themselves here for this top rune, so MSS is going to be there. We'll see if he tries to go for some funky plays there with the cogs potentially and try and take it away.
He's so dead if he does that. You can't do that against Tusk level 1. He's not even going to try, yeah.
He's playing it safe.
Playing the right call here, and bottom rune will go the way of Ritsu, playing in the mid lane. I think Ritsu mostly has played carry for this team. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And
You're the experts in.
Yeah, well...
I'm relying on you here.
They might have just swapped around for this particular game just because they think it's better to put the Razor safe lane, or that Brax isn't very comfortable in the Shadow Fiend. Or maybe they swapped lanes around since I last saw them play. Regardless, it is going to be the Bane Razor lane that we talked about, the synergy between Nightmare into Static Link. Pretty strong.
Yeah,
so choose to offlane the Shaker. It's a little bit surprising to me.
I mean, I guess as we talked about the fact that the Tusk against the Clock, it can allow you to get kills, you know, closing the gap, getting inside the cogs potentially with the Gyro, with the Rocket Barrage. You have got that kill potential with this trialing that LGD are running up top. But as you said as well, it's going to leave the Shaker a little bit vulnerable on the bottom lane. It's certainly not going to be the easiest of lanes here for him to get something out of down bottom. I mean, mid lane at the moment, so Ritsu on the SF, he's had a little bit of help there from the Dazzle, trying to get those early necro stacks up in the lane against Maybe, which he's certainly going to need some help against, because Maybe at the moment he's doing fine on his own, 5 for 1 against the 4 for 0. And we'll see how this matchup kind of ends up going, because it's definitely one I feel that if the Lina gets the edge in XP and gets a good timing on the level 6, the lane can be pretty hard for an SF, shall we see.
This is one of SF's hardest matchups. Lina outranges him. Lina can play super aggressively very early on. Shadow Fiend is a very weak hero in mid for the first 2 or 3 levels, and then he just starts raising, harassing with that, or pushing out waves and getting runes. But until that point, Lina dominates this lane. So I agree with the choice of putting Dazzle there. Now the problem is, with how long Dazzle was in there, 1437 on the Dazzle by the way, Ritsu is getting out-leveled by almost a full level already against Maybe's Lina, and that's kind of worrying. Because that basically extends the period in which Lina can dominate here. He did get the CS though, for Dazzle's help, so it's a little bit of a trade-off.
Oh, and top lane, MSS. He's going to find MMY snowballing in. He's just going to even the walk down here with the Battery Assault. So that'll be all it is, because DDC turns up and MSS just pops the cogs, so he'll keep himself safe and back up. 1437 here, we'll grab the DD. And looking to go towards mid lane onto Maybe, but it's going to be a few slaps, just harassing the Lina back, trying to create some more space here for Ritsu on SF.
He has a second skill point. He could have tried to go for a Poison Touch there, but I don't think they would have found the kill. And 1.37 really wants to keep the skill point if possible for a potential necessary grave, as LGD could have plans of ganking
top
mid.
lane. MSS, he's got to be careful here because he's caught between a Gyrocopter and DDC on the AA, and DDC with the body blocks here beautifully, allowing Sylar to close the gap. He's going to try and look for the neutral deny. Will he be able to find it? No, he won't. Sylar gets the final touch in, and that's going to be a safe lane Gyro picking up first blood for LGD.
It's very difficult playing Gyro against, playing Clockwork against Gyrocopter in lane.
And look at this snowball rotation. Sets up the light strike array. There is a dazzle there, and he will skill the shallow grave, so it's going to allow them to try and turn. They're looking for maybe. Maybe's going to be able to get himself out, and will be able to bottle himself back up. So nice attempt from MNY there with a rotation, but also very nice reaction there from 1437, getting himself in and keeping Ritsu alive on the SF.
If Clockwork had 1 point in Rocket, he would actually kill Lina there. That would have been such a big difference for him, giving him level 3.5 probably and putting him back in the game. This 1 point in Battery Assault, I'm actually surprised that MSS went for it in this lane, because his kill potential alone against a Gyro plus Tusk lane is non-existent. So it doesn't really provide much for him. I like the thought of going into a game like this where you may be the underdog, I guess that's fair to say, and feeling like you can play aggressively and just you need to put pressure with a skill like Battery Assault. But in my book, this is a max Rocket game.
Yeah, I think he potentially just skilled it, you know, when the snowball came in onto the river and he felt that he could try and go for a bit of a rundown on Tusk. He kind of skilled it then, so maybe not the initial plan. And as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him go back for just putting extra points into Rocket and leaving just the one in the battery.
Yeah, the other thing is, when you go for this build, you can't farm. If you had Rocket, he would probably have a few extra CS right now, so that could have been a bottle, if that's the build he's going for, or working his way toward upgraded boots. Instead, he doesn't even have boots yet. So the trade-off for this, it's a very high-risk, high-reward kind of build. Getting Battery Assault on level 2 when you have a hard lane, and he should definitely skill Rocket now.
Yeah, and we saw Savage down the bane just hanging around mid with that Invis rune, seeing if he could set something up onto Maybe, but Maybe was aware and just kept it very safe, kept it back. It won't get caught out there by the aggression of Cloud9, and a lot of attention has been given from Cloud9 towards that mid to try and help Ritsu out, and it's working at the moment. 27 for 4, he's keeping up his farm on par with Maybe's Lina, but Maybe's been doing on his own, whereas SF has required more resources from the side. It doesn't matter too much though, because looking at the CS of the two safe laners, 29 to 14, 20 to 18, it's going fine in that respect. So all things said and done across the board, it's fairly even between both sides at this point of the game.
Yeah, then it's about who has the better advantage from it transitioning later into the game. And I think a sacrificed Shaker is a lot stronger than a sacrificed Clock, because Fissure is a great tool on Clockwork, doesn't really do much in fights until he's level 6. And again, LGD with very good comfort picks, and I think also arguably a very, very strong support duo in the mid game that has a lot of potential to just counter the two other supports. The Bane grip is very easy to stop with the Tusk or with the offlane Shaker, and the Dazzle is also countered by the AA, so individually they have a very good matchup.
And this is really nice here. As soon as they get level 6 on the Lina, they want to try and find some blood. They want to get some action. They're going to move into 1437, and they're set up. But the Shallow Grave comes out in time. The shards will be there, so he's not going to be able to get himself out, but they might be able to turn around and get themselves a kill in reaction. Man, why can he get himself out? Looks like he can. The stun from Maybe comes out nicely onto 2. Buys the time to get out.
TK almost blocked Maybe on the wrong side. Oh, that would have been horrible.
That would have been some mushy stuff.
Oh. A little bit. Yeah, he had a hard game yesterday.
Awesome.
Definitely did. Well, 2-0 for LGD.
They get themselves the kill. Not maybe the highest value kill, but a kill nonetheless as soon as level 6 comes online, which I guess is Alina. That's what you want to be doing. Just using that ult every time it's out so you can get yourself that pretty much guaranteed kill. And top lane, DDC just wrapping around a bit. If you can look for some body blocks, then they might be able to get this. The cooldown, that should latch, and can they close this gap? Sylar's trying to move in. It looks like he can't quite get close enough, so MSS is going to be safe enough this time, but we're already seeing how hard it is for this Clock to just stay in lane against just the duo at the moment at the AA and the Gyro.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. At this point, I'm wondering if MSS should just go somewhere else, or I'm still surprised he hasn't skilled Rocket. He's holding his 3rd skill point and just losing easy CS. Now finally he does skill it.
And it's off.
Unfortunately for him, Gyro already has more damage than the Rocket does by now on his attacks. But still possible he can grab some CS here and there. The good news for Cloud9 is how much Ritsu's gotten.
Yes, he's getting a lot.
They've prioritized him a lot with the Dazzle, stacking for him, protecting him pretty much the entire game so far. So they're investing a lot into their Shadow Fiend. And I don't think it's the wrong choice, because there's no good alternative here. I don't think ganking potential is something these two supports they won't really have an easy time getting away with that. And the Razor is doing just fine on his own in the bottom lane against pretty much no opposition from the Shaker.
Yeah, and I guess in terms of kind of itemization here for the side, are we going to see the classic kind of SF going for the mech and then Razor just simply starting to stat up and get the S and Y online as soon as possible for Brax?
I think I'd rather do it the other way around. I think
really?
Razor's the better mech carrier, Shadow Fiend is the better scaling carry.
Alright.
Both of them benefit from either build, but the thing is, Shadow Fiend just farms a lot faster. So if he needs to go for a more defensive item such as the mech, you slow down his ramp up. Of course, Razor can easily play that utility role instead, and Shadow Fiend can get really, really big.
Look at this. So 8 minutes in, they're bringing Jara on a tour around the map. They're going to be able to find Savage here. The shards come out, the snowball to follow through, and well, with the fish and everything else, 1437 doesn't get the chance to get the grave out. And that'll be the third pick off there for LGD, and that's the kind of aggressive plays that it's always great to see when there's a gyrocopter, rather than just being passive, sticking in lane, just getting himself involved in the nitty-gritty across the map.
This is going to give MSS some space, though, on the Clockwork. So he's getting a one-on-one matchup now against DDC, but DDC is 1.5 levels ahead. Oh, MSS trying to threaten him a little bit, but DDC seems to not be too phased by this. Maybe that's an opening with Savage smoking in, but I think this is a really dangerous gank if they try it.
I mean, you've got already
it takes too long.
RTK coming around. You can see why they're trying to do it. They know that the A has been left on his own, so he can get that level 6, get the solo XP. But Savage now is going to find RTK. MSS is going to move forward. He's got 2 points here in the battery assault with the brain sap as well. But oh, he's trying to get. He's not going to be able to do it with the battery assault there. There is a snowball. Can they try and turn? Can they kill this clock before it kills the Shaker? No. Shaker's going to go down. MSS, does he live through this one? No, he doesn't. So it's a 1-for-1 at the moment. But it looks like LGD may be able to make this a 2-for-1 unless he gets the deny from the creeps. No, he doesn't. They'll be able to find that kill there as well as DDC picks that up on the AA. So a 2-for-1 trade there for LGD, and well, as you were saying, Sin, not really the best movement there from Cloud9 on the top.
It's just a difficult kill because it takes so long for Bane and Clock together to kill any of these heroes up here when they're both only level 4. If this was a level 6 Clockwork, it's a different story. Then they have so much burst that they could have killed Shaker before any reinforcements arrived. But it's very easy for LGD to turn that around on them and get 2 kills in return. So another victory for LGD. They're also at the same time pushing this bottom lane. And they can just feel so safe, because what's the real threat from Cloud9 right now? They can't initiate on them until Clockwork is level 6.
And this is, of course, Jara just feels so safe at the moment. He knows that he can be down here. He's got backup and maybe around as well. And that Laguna Blade is back online. So they have got that kill potential if anyone from the side of Cloud9 tries to come in. Cloud9 themselves, they're looking for a bit of a push up top. We've got Ritsu and Brax joining forces. Looking for the tower. A nice ice blast. Will connect onto another Fisher as well. It catches Ritsu. And with this TP in from Sylar, I don't think Ritsu gets himself out of this one, and there's no way he's retreating from that. 35 seconds on the clock here, the SF, and a nice ice blast into a nice reactive play there from the side of LGD.
They're crushing this game right now. Killing the Shadow Fiend is the biggest deal. Like, usually when a Shadow Fiend has 100 CS minute 11, his team is leading. They're 3,000 gold behind. With his death and with the lost tower bot, LGD are starting to gain map control. They're making all the right plays and the right calls. And I gotta say, part of it to me is down to the draft, where Cloud9 just has a lineup that it's difficult to see playing aggressively. So LGD are just exploiting it, going pretty much wherever they want with their heroes right now.
Oh, they might get a kill here though. There are 4 heroes coming in on the side. There's going to be an ice blast here. They'll find the light strike, but there's no follow-up. So they do lose Lina, maybe in a very deep position on his own in the jungle there, and he does get punished for it by Cloud9. So yeah, get the pick off.
It's very important for them. This is almost level 6 on Clockwork.
Yeah.
I've talked about it a lot, but it's just very clear with their strategy that this is very important for their lineup to be able to play a mid game at all. I still think they're pretty far behind in the game. Even if the gold was 0, I would say they're behind just from a strategic point of view. But it opens up some avenues of comeback here.
And in terms of builds, it's looking to be what you suggested. The fact that Sanj has now been picked up by Ritsu on the SF, so almost certainly looking for that Ed and White. And then Razor himself, yet to pick anything else up on top of the treads and the Aquila. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see the mech, or do you definitely buy the mech here on the Razor? Is there any reason why you would avoid it against LGD's lineup?
It'd be like, you can be scared of AA disabling your mech, but at the same time, you kind of have to try to play around it. And Yes, AI is a counter to mech, but you could also say the other way around. If you survive the Ice Blast and
Yes.
it brings you low, that's how you turn and win a fight. So I wouldn't say he should get
LGD.
Savages
Yeah,
getting
he's
savaged.
in a lot of trouble. Oh, nice nightmare. He dodges a
I
fair
said it
bit.
first. He died
Jinx
anyway.
got you.
Yeah.
All right, and that's a 12-minute Midas now on DDC's AA. So not bad at all for the man. They'll look to try and take this
good
tier 1.
timing.
So, as you were saying earlier, it's just about, so C9, they're investing a lot in Ritsu's Shadow Fiend, and he's got to do a lot for the team. He is still top net worth at the moment in the game, so they've got to use this as much as they can. He's level 11, he's doing a lot, but it's when these fights kind of kick off, and we've seen LGD pretty much using smokes consistently every time they're available and finding the pickoffs. And this time Cloud9 themselves, they're going to try their own luck at the smokes and start to make a movement towards the top lane. There's 3 heroes at the moment putting pressure on that tier 1 from LGD. So we'll see if Cloud9 can get the wraparound here. Now they're going to go back towards mid with the hook shot straight onto Sylar. Sylar's going to try and turn though, but the Fiend's Grip is there. They'll take down the Gyrocopter. Shallow Grave will keep the Clockwork alive, but they've still got ROTK. They're hanging around with MMY and they'll get the kill. Requiem comes out for Ritsu. It's a beautiful one from the sidelines. 2 dead at the moment. Lightstroke will clip Ritsu, but Brax moving forward with the rest of Cloud9. They're looking for more. They should be able to find MMY here, and they will. A 3-for-1 trade there from Cloud9. And as you said, just having that hook shot initiation, following it up with a beautiful Requiem from the side, and the fact that you've got the full team there, and LGD just weren't ready for that. They was still focused on pushing on the top lane, and it's a lovely fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, they needed this very, very much. If they get the tower too, we're almost back to 0 gold lead, I think.
AA versus
But
Bane. He's gonna stick around for some. Okay, now. Yeah, the smart TP out. And he's gonzo.
Cloud9 didn't manage to take the tower though. They got it very low. I'm curious to see if LGD decide to deny it or just leave it there as a strategic position for Town Portal. I would probably die it here. It's very clear Cloud9 are going to double raise the wave and just hit it twice with SF. Or they should make a very good bait there. That is pretty difficult to do.
So yeah, RT's he's just going to take it down here. The Shaker. And maybe he's Linus at the moment. He's level 11. But yours. And it looks like, so Brax, he's picked up the Ashes, so maybe, you know, foregoing the mech build and deciding to get the S&Y online. And here's your hook shot again, onto Maybe. And Maybe he's in a lot of trouble there, caught in the cogs, another pick off, the cooldown's coming through here. And look, this is Sylar just moving in on the front lines, trying to go. The Ice Blast was with, and Brax gets off the static link. There'll be a snowball closing on his MSS. The Shallow Grave keeping Brax alive here, but he maybe get himself out. Fiend's Grip has been put down onto ROTK. Can they kill him? Oh, nearly! He's still alive. ROTK's gonna survive. They couldn't quite finish off the Shaker.
And that was a really nice fissure. It caught Razor on the left-hand side as well. So he did get himself a kill too. That looked really bad for LGD when that AA ult whiffed completely, like you said. They still had enough. They just had a way superior position, and the Shadow Fiend just wasn't there.
He wasn't there, and he had a DD as well. It could have been the turnaround potential, but maybe Ritzy just felt that it already just wasn't the fight that the C9 wanted to commit to. So he just focuses on pushing up on top lane.
I think if he had his TP ready, it was flat out just a mistake not porting down there. Okay. He could have secured his team the fight. And even if they don't get kills, they don't lose 3 heroes. Then LGD have to, at the very least, just retreat and be like, oh, Shadow Fiend is porting and get back. And in that case, you kill the Lina and maybe you lose your clock and then that's it. He accomplished top lane was not worth 2 lives.
And that's on White now down onto Sylar. So adding to this potential that he has when he fights 60 minutes into the game. And I mean, at this point, so we talked about earlier, just talking it late, taking it late. Have Cloud9 got as much potential in the late game, do you feel, as LGD's lineup?
No.
No.
I don't think so. There's like this sweet spot for their lineup where Shadow Fiend and Razor are both strong. And I would say it's coming up within the next 10 minutes. But the real issue I have with Cloud9's ability to win this game is even if they're in a good position and even if they're leading, they need to breach high ground at some point, and it's just super difficult to do against LGD's lineup, and they have worse late game when we go very, very late. Gyro and of course the Lina should be able to deal with these 2 cores for Cloud9. Okay. In most cases, I would say.
Cloud9,
oh, this is a very good Ice Blast.
Up to 3, the fish and the snowball in as well. They're ready to fight here, LGD. There's a Shallow Grave, and Richard will get off the Requiem. They'll burst down the Tusk, but they've already lost the Bane, and now maybe turning up from the sidelines. Hookshot across from SS. It's 2 for 1 at the moment. It looks like it's going to be 2 for 2 if they can kill. Maybe no, they can't. Slam from ROTK will finish off the ban in the pit, and it's a double kill for Maybe as LGD clean up. It was off the beautiful setup of that heist blast into the fissure, into the snowball, just bringing them so low,
Those ice
making it
shards.
so hard to fight.
The ice shards were incredible. He caught 3 heroes inside the shard, so Cloud9 couldn't actually exit the pit. Makes for a very easy save.
Oh, baby! He cancelled the TP.
I don't think he realized.
Oh.
He probably thought he missed.
That was literally on the last 0.1 second. I mean, that's after that fight anyway, so RT can have his Blink Dagger now. You know what I mean? Blink Dagger now done. And Blink Dagger on the Luna as well. They're ready to
The
go.
one on Shaker is the big deal here. As I mentioned earlier, as far as the draft goes, there's just so many ways for LGD to take fights, and preventing Cloud9 from taking Roshan, which I think is the biggest threat right now to, again, them being able to push the high ground, having the Aegis will make a very big difference. Of course, that's one thing LGD does not deal with so well, is in order for them to get key kills, they probably have to commit ultimates, and if they do that onto Shadowfiend with Aegis, maybe they lose a tier 3, and then you can look towards secondary Roshans giving racks. But they held it. Just keep the farm going, and building a significant advantage again here at 5k apiece.
Yeah, keeping the swing, favouring themselves. Chris is going to try and work on that BKB, and of course against LG's lineup, BKB is going to be very nice in these fights.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen what a well-timed Requiem can do against this lineup of LGD. And LGD themselves, is the Jara going to be building a BKB? Yeah, it looks like he himself, he's opted for the BKB as well, straight after the S&Y. So really preparing for these fights that both teams are forcing at this point of the game, 19 minutes in. We've seen a lot of aggression from both sides, but at the moment, the majority of it has favoured the side of LGD. And, I mean, LGD themselves, the Tusk with the Arcanes, what does he follow this build with? Does he himself look for the mech for the lineup of LGD? Is that something that you can still go for at this point of the game to then build into the Greaves for these fights?
Yeah, I think that would be nice. I think Greaves are good. There's no... If you look at Cloud9's lineup, their damage is mainly spread damage between Requiem, Raises, and Plasma Field right now, and being able to negate at least one of those spells where the mech is very nice. Alternatively, he can get a Blink Dagger, just so he has a very easy way of getting in on the Bane. If he has already used the Snowball, he can then Blink Punch the Bane instead to stop Grip. That's also nice. Or he can Blink into Cogs and save his ally that gets caught in there as well. So there's a lot of utility in getting a Blink Dagger here. I would say either build is actually very good.
Talking about the blinks, we're going to see RTK want to try and use his hair off the back of this smoke. Smoker make the movement over to the Radiant side of the map. See if they're able to find anyone. You've got both the Razor and the Bane pushing in the top lane, soon to be joined by MSS. And so they're just going to wrap around between the towers and head into the jungle. At the moment, Ritsu is there, along with the backup of 1437 on the Dazzle. We'll see if they can get themselves deep enough to find it. It looks like they're going to give up on this one and just realize they've got the space to get the push on mid. They'll look to try to take the tier 1 here, and C9 won't be doing anything in response to that.
And this is such a classic LGD play as well. Smoking to get tower. I think they were hoping to get a pick, but what happens in the game is when you show up out of nowhere and you're suddenly 5 heroes at a tower and attacking it, if the enemy team has their heroes spread out across the map, getting back to defend the tower is either going to cost them their entire push on the other lanes and 2 or 3 TPs, or you just... the delay on TPing is so long that you might even be late anyway. So this whole surprise factor of LGD going off the map and getting a tower I think is very good.
Ritsu will now have that BKB pretty much done. Just a few up away from having the recipe for it. And that's going to be ready for this SF for the next fight. LGD might look for themselves. They're pushing down the bottom lane. Sylar leading the way, backed up by maybe an MMY. But Cloud9, they know it, and Cloud9 themselves might look to try and take the fight here. Weave's going to get dropped, but it actually doesn't. Oh, only catches the Jar on the edge there. There'll be the Yule set up onto the Bane with the Lina combo. They'll take down Savage. At the same time, MMY trying to move forward onto 1437. Looks like Cloud9 will just try and get themselves out of this here. Maybe he's going to chase it. There's the Fisher from RTK, setting up the kill onto the Dazzle. The second pick off in a row there for LGD. They'll blink forward. They're looking for more. The Light Strike, it catches MSS. They get the right clicks in, and it gets the hooks up, but it doesn't latch onto anything. MSS, he tried to get himself out. I think he tried to hook onto Ritsu, but Ritsu moved out the way. And that's going to be the tier 2 potentially going down as well, as LGD find 3 very nice pickoffs at the bottom.
And they just have AA farming top at the same time, just only providing the Ice Blast there, which actually missed. He didn't even need to be there. LG just, again, catch them by surprise, and
Oh, ROTK. Look at these setups. But the Fisher, oh my goodness, this man's a player, and so's his team. Brax is down in the mid lane.
Oh, at least one return kill here from Ritsu, and up top gets DDC. You know the game is looking rough when the enemy's AA is worth 600 gold minute 23 for Ritsu. It's pretty interesting because you can start whether you're the losing or winning team. This can give you an idea of what the current status of gold lead is in the game.
Maybe is he got Laguna? He has got Laguna, and he's going to use it. There we go. No, okay, yeah, we'll use it to make sure. We'll use it to make sure. He says. Another kill here for the lineup, and a lot of hope really being invested in Ritsu on his SF at this point. Because LGD themselves, they've just got the whole network set much more evenly between their cores. And the Jar and Lina are getting scarier and scarier at this point. And we've just seen how confident LGD are with these movements across the map. I don't think we've seen them do a single field smoke or rotation at this point. And now they're going to look for more. He drops the cooldown here, Starlight. Isn't going to clear 1437, so we won't try and commit to it. But I mean, against this kind of play that LGD are bringing to this match, what do you do if you're Cloud9 to react to it?
I personally, once again, I feel like they missed their timing window already. With this kind of draft, they might have wanted to invest more into securing Clockwork in early game, so Bane should have maybe played more around the top lane. Or the Dazzle should have, to allow Clock to get a game, because, well, you saw when MSS got level 6, they started showing signs of life, but it just happened so late into the game, and LGD just had all the solutions. They're also seemingly reading the map a bit better. Do Cloud9 have smokes? I feel like have they even used
They've got
one?
a smoke on 1437 at the moment.
They have one on 1437. Is that the only one they have left? Because I haven't really felt the impact of the smokes they have done, compared to LGD's, which have been way more successful. And at this point, you gotta start looking for places Cloud9. I don't think farming's gonna work.
Okay, I mean, they are grouping up here at the moment towards their own Ancients. The question is, are they gonna go for some kind of smoke or movement? They've got that Radiant Ward that's showing them the fact that AA is on his own. They might just look for the easy pick-off here, as they're gonna commit a few heroes, and there's your hook shot for it. So they'll see DDC is on his own, they're going for the kill, and they will get it. So again, taking down the A, but this is just giving the space for LGD to just make movements around the map elsewhere. And here we go, Snowball straight onto 1437. He gets the punch through. There'll be a cooldown as well. He's going to look for the TP out. Is the missile going to connect? It doesn't even matter because the fish is there from RTK. 1437 will go down. And it's essentially a support for support trade there between the sides. LGD more so in a position to get the push on in the mid lane. Maybe try and look for the tier 2 and even look to try and provoke another fight from the side of Cloud9.
Yeah, they are indeed in a very good spot here to pressure this, but at the same time showing some respect to the enemy team. Of course, maybe nervous about the Clockwork. They shouldn't be. He doesn't have hookshot for another 30. But sometimes in these situations, difficult to assess when it's going to be ready. And they also know that as long as they're map controlling and farming, they're going to be fine. Maybe he's now got his Aghanims. He's looking very, very strong on that Lina. They've got about 10,000 gold advantage. Wondering when they're going to start trying for this Roshan pick.
Yeah, this is yeah, maybe 25 minutes in having, as you said, the Aghanims and for the Yules and the Blink Dagger. That's pretty impressive for the man, especially in a game as well where the Gyro's had so much farm. They're both just about 1k behind the SF, but this is an SF that's had a lot of stacks created for him, a lot of space created for him by the side of Cloud9. So it just really goes to show how LGD are kind of making the best of this situation in comparison to Cloud9. It looks like it's going to be the Skadi coming out next for Ritsu as he picks up the first ultimate orb. Unless, I mean, I imagine it's going to be Skadi. He can't really afford to go too defensive and get something like a Lincoln's, can he, against this lineup?
He might have to against the Laguna Blade.
Yeah.
It is possible. Okay. My concern for Cloud9 is who's going to deal the damage. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking if he goes Lincoln's.
They need to kill someone. Well, even Skadi doesn't give very much damage for the money you pay. It's more of a hybrid item that gives a little bit of everything, or a lot of everything, but...
Yeah, it's the Luigi of Dota 2 items.
Yeah. But doesn't... I don't know. I don't think right now that they can kill the big heroes of LGD with anything short of a full fiend script or having a very good weave beforehand. Hookshot.
MSS closing the gap, trying to move it on to maybe, but LGD are going to be there for reaction. Look at this as well, moving in from the bottom. There's the wraparound RTK, straight with the Fisher. Now blinks forward, looking for more. The slam straight onto the Razor, looking to get him down here with the enchant donor. Maybe turns it with the Laguna onto Praxis, in up with the right click. The Dragon Slave's going to miss. Snowball across will finish off MSS on the clock. Brax trying to get himself away, but the shards are there. They'll catch him just on the clip, and that'll just buy the time for the rest of LGD to move in and find themselves the second pick off there. The Cloud9 desperately trying to find something up top, but LGD are there with the full 5-man reaction rotation.
Is under attack.
And again, the issue here is just that, well, first of all, the hookshot doesn't connect. And at that point, kill is just not happening anymore. But Razor Clock right now is also not that dangerous of a duo for LGD to be ganked by. They have the time to respond with their other heroes supporting up there.
I mean, I think as well, you talked about it earlier, how a Shaker can do so much more with a bad start than a Clock can, and I think that's shown in the net worth as well. I was seeing the Clock, MSS, poor lad, bless him, he's a fair bit behind just the supports of LGD in terms of value.
Hey, you also just look at kill attendance.
Yeah.
Shaker's been in 17 kills,
Yep.
Clockwork has been in 6. Relative to his team's number of kills, it's pretty good, but there's just been way more going the way of ROTK in this game.
No, he's been making a lot up in ROTK. There's been some really nice plays from him. Yeah, 23-9, 28 minutes in. Ritsu is still sitting at the top of that net worth, but it's really just a case of what he's going to be able to do with it, and of course to see what he does build here with this orb. And DDC, how's he doing on the Agonist front? Is he okay, so he's only got the staff, there's nothing on the courier, is there? No. Okay, so because of the he's been killed a fair few times up here whilst he's trying to be building these components. I will of course have that Agonist eventually. Okay, and there we go. He did, but DDC did buy the gem there for us. Cheers, weapons.
I think he might also be buying a Force Staff over Ags in this game. When you open up with the Staff of Wizardry, it generally hints that either you haven't chosen yet,
Okay.
or you're going for the Force Staff. And
You reckon? I mean, do you still get the Midas first if you're going for stuff, or I guess it.
he
if you
might have
get
just
a good
changed
timing,
his mind. This is
yeah.
like, oh wow, I got a 13-minute
Yeah.
Midas, that's
He
great.
might
And
as well.
since then he died a couple times, didn't find as much farm as he had hoped maybe. Then you adjust your build to the situation. Force Staff counters Clock more than any other item in the game. And
Yeah, it's great against the static link as well. Just getting
Yep,
the jar away
absolutely.
from him. So he
It's
can
also good
re-engage.
against Fiend Script,
Yeah.
actually. When the hero is just turned in the right direction, creating that extra gap for the enemy team to reach the target of grip is very useful.
It's true, it's true. And Roshan looks like this may be what's next on the menu. Maybe finds himself a DD rune, and it looks like this will be go time here for the team. Sylar and the boys moving in. And let's see if Cloud9 can do anything. I'm going to smoke up for this. I mean, this is potentially a high-risk, high-reward play from the side. Let's see if they can do anything here. The player will scout it out. They'll move forward, and here's Brax trying to go. The Echo Slam comes through. Brax does get off the BKB in time of the... Oh, the Ice Blast straight onto Ritz. He'll finally get the BKB out, and the punch is going to bring him low, but not quite low enough. He's going to be fine. Shallow Graved up. They've already taken down the Lina. They'll take down the Tusk and the Jara as well. Really nice fight there for Cloud9. They also managed to snatch the Aegis as MSS picks that up. Cloud9, as I said, it was a high risk, high reward, and they certainly hit the jackpot with that one. A massive gold swing, massive XP swing as well, and LGD just weren't prepared for that. I'm getting the Aegis as well, Sind, off the back of that trade. Couldn't have gone any better for Cloud9.
No, it's really, really crucial for them that they managed to shut out the Lina from that fight, not getting the Laguna Blade off. Brax, I think, got a full drain off on the Gyro. That was a very dangerous play from LGD. I thought that was going to go better for them as well, and they probably did themselves, but Cloud9 with a very good initiation, they found the angle with the right heroes that they needed. And shutting down the Lina in the fight, I think, is the absolute most important thing. Don't let maybe move around in the fights.
Dire's middle tower
And they didn't.
has fallen.
Okay, and that's just Guardi now done for Ritsu. Off the back of that, 4-star picked up by Clock. So a bit of momentum regained there by the side of Cloud9. We'll see now if they're able to do anything. I mean, I guess still in the position that they are, they probably won't look to play too aggressive. And of course the Aegis was popped in the fight as well, even though they did manage to steal it. But they're still going to be very aware of the power of LGD. But they're certainly closing the gap between their own and the opponents. I guess it's just a question now of how this Razor and this Shadow Fiend do proceed after kind of tanking up. So as you said, the Skadi, it's kind of a bit of a jack of all trades. At this point, does he just need to go for the full out damage here on Ritsu?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if Butterfly is actually a good choice here, because you know Gyro will be getting an MKB eventually pretty much no matter what in his build. There's still a lot of spell damage coming out from the Lina that it doesn't really counter very well. And you do have the health from the Skadi to back that up, so now you can go for a really hard-hitting damage item like a Daedalus. Your move speed from Sandanyacha is probably enough for you to be able to lock onto targets. That would probably be my choice in this case for him, is definitely Daedalus.
Okay, well, talking about choices, yeah, the money really is racking up here on the Gyrocopter. He's got 3k to work with. Sylar So we'll see what he opts to invest in. There's a DD rune down the bottom. So let's see who decides to go and pick that up. And C9's keeping themselves a little bit more grouped up now. We've got all 5 of them just operating in their own jungle, ready for LGD if they do try and look for something sneaky. And Sylar, he's on his own here. If they spot him, he's going to be... I mean, the flare was there. If MSS found a hook shot, could have been in a bit of trouble. I mean, that was some ballsy positioning there from the gyrocopter. Just casually wandering into the Radiant jungle on his own.
His team was pretty far behind him. DDC is going to opt for the Aghanim, by the way. Yeah. He grabbed the point booster now. So, decides the 4 staff is not necessary. They do, of course, have 1 on the Shaker.
Maybe this is maybe Sylar came out on his own and he was like, hey, look at me, I'm all on my own. And Cloud9 were like, hey, he's all on his own. Now he's come back, but he's got the team smoked up. So they might try and go on in here. But okay, the smoke's going to be revealed because Braxton moved forward.
Oh, they're pinging maybe. They know because the smoke broke that there has to be someone there, but no initiation coming in from the Clockwork. Tower gets denied. Still alright for Cloud9. They progress a little bit on the map. And if they felt for that, that was like the most obvious bait, I feel like. There's no one on the other lanes. Sylar standing alone at the tier 1 tower rather at minute 34 is a pretty clear sign that there is backup available. And they just get the tower and get out.
And I certainly feel at this point, with the value and what Ritsu has got, he is pretty hard to kill, you know, if you are LGD going into these fights. And as you already talked about, just getting an Enfeeble or a Stallion onto Gyrocopter. I don't know if you're killing the Shadow Fiend through the BKB, and the fact that he's got the Dazzle backing him up as well. These high ground advances, when they do come out, are going to be fairly scary. Yes, LGD have got the tools to deal with it. They've now got a Shiva's Guard picked up by the Lina. But Cloud9 certainly have a fair bit of a punch to them. And we'll just see able to do anything with it. Yeah, 2.6k now on your Shadow Fiend. So almost certainly we'll look to sell the Aquila and pick up. I mean, to add to the right click. And it's going to be the Butterfly potentially coming out first with the Gyros. He's picked up the Eagle Song. I mean, do you see that Eagle Song and then you just say, okay, I'll just get the MKB first here on Ritsu's SF now? Or is the evasion now even more valuable knowing that the Gyro's not going to have an MKB soon?
Oh, the thing is, it's like the MKB is obviously great against Gyro, but the Daedalus is so much better against all the others.
Okay.
And I don't know if he needs to take on the responsibility of shutting down the Gyro, because I feel like that's actually the responsibility of Bane and the Razor. And Ritsu needs to be able to shut down the others very, very quickly and very easily. Of course, the MKB does give him allow him to kill the Gyro a lot easier. I'm okay with both. I think for me, this is one of those games where you don't get the MKB first, actually, even with it on the horizon.
So what's he got coming out in the courier here, the SF? He's just had something sent out to him. Okay, so it's not really giving away too much. It could still be that Daedalus. But he has picked up the Demon Edge, so definitely one of the two, not opting for the Butterfly himself this game first.
I do think he's going to go MKB, though. It's just the standard response is when you see a Butterfly build-up from the enemy team's carry, you generally prioritize MKB over Daedalus, and I would agree with it in the vast majority of cases. But this one, I feel like it's a little bit borderline. Both are good. There it is, by the way.
Yeah, Butterfly done. Wow.
No buyback for Sylar. This is actually an opening for Cloud9 if they win this fight to get Rax, but I don't think they want to fight.
Yeah, they did all come up here as 5, but not quite feeling confident enough to try and fight under the tier 2 of LGD, or maybe they're still hanging around. It looks like the call is to back off. They want to be very careful about the next fight that they take. Razor, of course, is working towards that Assault Cuirass and is fairly close as well, so ideally, maybe just wanting to hang on until Brax has picked that item up and then trying to go for some more action, because AC in a nicely placed weave from 1437 is going to make it very hard for LGD to try and fight into that lineup. Especially with regards to BKBs, of course, on both of the cores for Cloud9. And what's Ritsu got coming out here? Is just sending it back. Is he going to invest in the first Javelin? Or no, he's just getting TP out at the moment. Hasn't quite got the money to finish off the full MKB. And LGD, they're grouping up there. Not going to smoke for the time being. It's a little bit more of a passive section of this game here, where I think LGD kind of realised that Cloud9, they do have that potential to still take these fights, and they themselves, they can't just afford to go willy-nilly walking around the map smoked up, because they're not always going to come out on top unless they're super careful about their fights.
If the Roche fight didn't go the way it did, I think LGD would have almost ended the game by now. But they lost a lot of their progress in the game, basically, with that one play. losing the Aegis, losing the Roshan. They lost like a 5,000 gold advantage basically. Whereas had they got the Rosh, they would have had 15k. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Brax. Well, he's going to be all on his own here, but he's popped the BKB, gets a decent static link off as well, and he could try to move in off the back of this, closing the gap. And why will be able to blink away, but a nice touch from MSS catches out the AA. That'll be one, but here's Tyler trying to turn with the cooldown onto 2. Second time from RTK did catch MSS, and they'll take down the clockwork. 1-for-1 at the moment. Who's going to continue this fight? Looks like Ritz is the one wanting to. BKB'd up, moving straight forward to the side of LGD with this aggression. Maybe we'll get the blink off Ritsu, but the Requiem will get MMY with it. So that'll be 2-for-1 at the moment, favoring the side of Cloud9. But now LGD may be trying to come back in. They'll throw the missile down onto Ritsu. The Fisher from RTK catches 3, moves himself forward, gets the enchant totem off. But now there's a Fiend's Grip from the sidelines. RTK's coming too deep, and they're going to punch that. C9 finding 3 kills there off the side of LGD, as I don't quite know if that was the play there from the Sin, going back in against Cloud9 when they'd already lost 2 heroes.
Yeah, they might have felt like it got stolen away from them because they thought they had a shot at the Razor. But with that BKB, they're not killing him unless Lina is in position to commit Laguna together with Gyro's physical, and they didn't. So, good hookshot, like you said, from MSS, isolating key target and killing it off. And Cloud9 are actually starting to pull this game back pretty well.
Yeah, and this is the momentum they need. If they can ride off this. I mean, one thing, did the Shaker finish it off? No, he lost a bit of the gold. He was looking to build into a Lotus Orb. I believe he's got everything bar the plate mail on the Courier. Which is obviously going to be very nice for the Gyrocopter. If he can land that down on the Gyrocopter before these fights start, suddenly the static link is irrelevant. Bane's going to have a lot harder trouble controlling the Gyrocopter with the Fiend's Grips, with the Nightmares. So it's going to be a very nice pickup there for LGD when they do get it. But yeah, as you said, Cloud9 certainly getting their strength and their act back together. And LGD, I mean, that's pretty much the second fight that we've seen in a row where LGD just haven't come out on top. Got to be a little bit worried about Cloud9 now at this point.
If they want to come out on top in these kind of fights, the engage needs to be way more crisp. They basically got their Tusk and their AA out of position going on a hero that has a BKB, and the Lina wasn't able to blow up the Razor whatsoever. If they engage with Snowball like they did there, it's piece of cake for Brax to just use BKB defensively as the Snowball approaches and just turn on his ultimate. And LGD just had to turn tail and run. And they could have actually managed to disengage entirely if it wasn't for MSS.
Yes, yeah, they were. Yeah, did catch them on the back. And now Cloud9. Alright. For smoke from the base. But a fair way to travel. I mean, is this potentially just smoke and go Roche, or is this smoke look for pickoffs and then go Roche? I mean, Roche itself is back up.
There are a lot of ways that LGD can scout this Roche, but if they get away with it, it's a very big play that could open up.
Here comes the creep. That's going to be the way they play for. So Cloud9, they're not going to go straight for the pit. They're going to look for try and find a fight first, and they might just get it here. Moving up to the high ground, the Rocket Flare will spot them out. They know that LGD is about the neighborhood, and there's your hook shot from MSS. Beautifully on target. Maybe will use himself, buy himself some time, but Ritsu looking for the channel of the Requiem. The Snowball's going to save 2 of them, though. Sala will still get caught with a slow. Brax trying to move forward with the BKB. Fisher gets thrown back, and the missile will land onto the Clockwork. Let's see if LGD move in onto this one. MSS could be in trouble. The cooldown's there, and they will. They'll take down the Clockwork. There's your Lotus Orb onto Sylar, stopping any chance of Cloud9 turning this one back on the Maritsu. He's caught on the cliff. He's all alone. He's down. Double kill for Sylar. Maybe even a triple as they close in onto SVG. They'll get a triple kill for the Gyrocopter, and LGD might even find more. They'll look for the TP out 1437. It's not going to happen. Ultra kill for Sylar. And this time, Cloud9 Smoke getting punished in the most painful way possible as they lose 4 heroes. They'll lose the Roshan to LGD. And LGD say, well, you may have had a couple of nice fights, but we can have an even nicer one.
The way that fight developed was actually really interesting, because I was like, they broke the smoke, and that's where most players will just immediately react by blinking out their Lina. He stayed in the front lines, kept his blink ready, and actually let them engage on him. It's like the call was, okay, if he wants to hookshot me, that's fine. I'm going to Yules, then you can defensive snowball me, and then I can blink. And it went probably better than what LGD expected, because Ritsu wasted BKB Requiem on hitting almost nothing. And that's such a big part of their team fight out the window, where LGD just buy time with the snowball, that it was an easy fight afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, Tusk, as we're seeing, is just one of those heroes. He's got a lot of strengths against a lot of them, but, I mean, SF is another one. Just using the snowball to dodge the Requiem, saving his team, getting himself in there sometimes as well with a punch to cancel the channeling. And off the back of that, LGD now looking to push down the mid lane. SF's going to be back up in a few seconds, and looks like LGD will respect that, maybe just try and get the top lane pushed in, get that final tier 2 away from the side of Cloud9. But LGD certainly regaining the control that they did have for pretty much the first 25 minutes of this game back into their hands.
You can just tell from the graph how this game has gone. LGD have been doing very well all the time. There was the one big turnaround for Cloud9. Game stagnated a bit, and now they pulled it back once again. After another good team fight from Cloud9. It's interesting to see how they show these signs of life in a couple of very good fights. But apart from them, very little happening from Cloud9's side. So now they return to farming. Curious to see what Brex gets next.
And he's got a bit of gold saved up, hasn't he? What's he on at the moment? 3.5k, yeah, on this Razor. I mean, does he go for the axe, yeah? So they can try and break high ground a little easier? He's got the AC. I mean, it's...
I like the idea of getting a butterfly just so you can flutter and stay next to gyrocopter and steal damage. Of course, the MKB will be coming out for Salar as his next item, as it looks. So maybe not interested in using in getting the butterfly for that reason. He does have pretty good move speed already. 455 is pretty high, so it should be higher. Well, Salar can actually outrun him if he uses flutter. Then he's on 522. We'll see. Another nice item on Razor in this game is actually either Shivas or Hex. He does have pretty good damage over the course of a long fight with Eye of the Storm running, and of course stealing the damage with Static Link. He has enough attack speed between Sanjin Yashi and Kiras, so it's all about locking on his target. And the minus attack speed aura against Gyrocopter is great, and of course the additional armor. And the alternative Hex would just be simply for them to have a secondary means of engaging and controlling heroes.
This is potentially nice from LGD. They had that dire ward, so they saw the fact that Cloud9 came very deep out on this top lane, and they're going to try and smoke and catch him off the back. Might be MSS the one to tank this one, as LGD moving in. MSS, okay, no, he's in a lot of trouble. There's the punch into the cooldown, trapped in his own cogs. MSS will go down, so they take down the clockwork. Everyone else from the side of Cloud9 will be able to get themselves out and away.
That was the lowest level hero on the map, though.
Yeah, so he's tanking it for them.
He's going to respawn so fast that it actually won't really matter, and the fact that LGD blew a smoke on that, they're probably not very satisfied with. They can try to go high ground here with 30 seconds on the clock, but the creep wave is still a good 20 seconds away from the base. So Cloud9 can hold it with just a glyph if they want to really delay it for a 5-on-5, or maybe LGD aren't even trying to commit with the wave.
Look how much money this Lena's got. He's got quite a bit, Sind.
Yep.
7k gold on maybe.
Surprised he doesn't sell his Euros at this point and get something else, even with the
pick up a Hex.
Aegis in his inventory, yeah.
That's a lot of money on this man.
Hex would be great. I think this is actually also a pretty good time for him to get a refresher. I wouldn't mind seeing refresher BKB as two last items actually, just so he can refresh the Shivas, double Laguna, key targets. And with the BKB, he should be able to just sustain against the clockwork and all the magic damage coming out from Cloud9.
There we go, and moving forward, blink forward, punch onto Ritsu, pods the BKB, and he looks to try and turn his. Silo's got the Lotus Orb on him, and he moves forward himself with the BKB. The damage from Ritsu is too much. Silo's going to get taken down here. C9 looking pretty strong. They can maybe move in for more if they want to try and chase down, and they might just be happy with that. Sylar just getting far too deep, and Ritsu just turning and punishing him, and with the physical damage that this SF can do at this point. And that's Sylar down for a good 70 seconds, and as you said earlier, with his investments that he's been making, he doesn't have any kind of buyback if Cloud9 are able to try and find the momentum to push, but there we go. Oh, Brax, he's going to be kept alive just in time by 1437 with the Shallow Grave, and he's going to TP out, but the cold feet ticks in and kicks in. He's going to go down, they'll lose the Razor. So LGD there, nicely jumping back in, making sure that Cloud9 can't really look for anything during this duration of the Jar being dead, and again, 1437 with these Graves, keeps MSS alive with the Ice Blast Connect. No, one, he's going to be fine, gets himself out. But LGD not happy that they lost their Gyrocopter and proving that they can still fight. And here we go, going in for more punch onto Ritsu. They'll get the Enchant Totem, Aftershock Proc, the Fisher as well, but they can't quite deal with Ritsu on their own. They don't have the damage to bite through the Shadow Fiend. Now LGD And we'll look to back up, but oh, Giant MSS! He gets himself in! There'll be the snowball to dodge it, and he'll actually get himself 4-staffed out, so he's trying to retreat, but Cloud9, they want to chase LGD out. The Laguna Blade to the face of MSS, blowing up the Tin Can Man, and now Ritsu's in trouble. They've caught him out, the punch is there, he's got too far out, he pops the BKB, but they pop him. They'll take down the Shadow Fiend, and they're looking for more. Maybe he's going to miss the Light Strike array here, but he's looking to chase down 1437 on the Dazzle. It's only himself and the Bane left alive. Blink 4 from Maybe. He'll Shallow Grave himself, 1437. At the same time, LGD, they're looking for both. You've got ROTK and MMY trying to find Savage, and they will. They get the Light Strike, they get the punches in. He's down. It's a full team wipe. LGD fighting absolutely beautifully without the need of Sylar on his gyrocopter sim.
Yeah, it was all tactical from the beginning. Just losing Sylar to make Cloud9 come out of their base. Well, jokes aside, that was actually very, very beautiful. The defensive play there from LGD in response. It looked like a great hook shot, but the Force Staff as well as the Snowball buying enough time for them to get out of there. Now the question is what buybacks they can force from Cloud9. We're going to see at least one come out, maybe both. There's the Shadow Fiend, that's the big one.
And now Sylar's back. They've got to try and fight LGD again, but this time with the threat of that gyrocopter. I mean, we saw just then, it was kind of LGD just kind of poking them, going, hey, come and get us, and C9 tried to, and it just didn't work out. Now Fisher onto Ritsu, they blink forward, they close the cap, MSS is there with the hook shot, the Laguna Blade's been locked down, they can't quite kill Ritsu here, and they'll get off the Requiem in time. Snowball comes across, they'll lose the touch because he comes in too deep. They did kill MSS on the Clockwork, so it's a 1-for-1 there. It looks like LGD this time without the touch, they'll feel a little bit less confident in terms of hanging around, and they will now call it a day there after those fights in the mid lanes. But quite some fights, at the least. Of course, Cloud9, they do end up defending the base. They still have the racks in the mid lane alive. So the defense is successful. It was a costly one. There were a fair few buybacks coming through. And well, maybe Sylar's still hanging around here. And Weave's going to get laid down. They've got ROTK there as well. So I think Cloud9 are going to be a little bit more careful about coming out of the base looking for LGD. But this game's certainly stepping up to be quite an interesting one 50 minutes in.
It still looks like LGD have pretty good control. Forcing that buyback on Shadow Fiend is a really big deal because killing him ends the game now. They have a very clear win condition that doesn't necessarily involve pushing high ground. So Ritsu has to be super careful in his plays. Will have a harder time pushing out the waves because he simply has to play that bit safer. And LGD are starting to rack up the items. I'm a little bit surprised he went for the Octarine core on Lina. I think it's a cool item on a core Lina that's very rich. Of course, lowering all the cooldowns and getting all the spell lifesteal is very nice.
Ooh. And what do you reckon about this? So Brax, with all the money that he was saving up, he decided to just buy the Skadi here on the Razor. You're not a fan? It's a bit of a middle-of-the-road item, really. Just
I get the idea that they're trying to tank up really hard on their heroes and just try to outlast, but I think a Shivas would have done almost the same in that regard. Of course, he gets more raw health against Lina's Spellburst, but he already had a lot of health, and of course the Shallow Grave and the heals from Dazzle keep him alive, and Lina doesn't want to Laguna the Razor at all. So I don't think this is ambitious enough in terms of winning the game rather than just staying in it.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's what all they need to do at this point, just buy time for them to get more items across the board on all their heroes. But as we've already seen, there's a lot of scary stuff that has been picked up by LGD, and LGD still, of course, playing with this 25,000 net worth and XP advantage. They're going to try and do something on the bottom lane here. Maybe moves forward with the Shivas. Isn't going to quite clip Ritsu. It'll be the Ice Blast flying through. And says, oh, he hook shots the backside of Brax. I haven't been able to find anything off the back of that one. That's down for 50 seconds. No acronyms on this Clockwork. And Roshan is now back up, so we'll see when LGD may even just back up and look for the Rosh, look for the Aegis. And looks like that might be what they do here. Cloud9 are coming out the base. So LGD might have their attentions drawn back towards the fight towards the bottom. They're starting to move back, and it looks like they'll head into the pit, at least the Tuskers. So they know that Rosh is there. They've got a Satanic now on Sylar. They can get an Aegis as well for the lineup. It's going to be even harder for Cloud9 to defend.
And with this Satanic, Sylar can just solo Rosh with no risk. He's going to be at full fit pretty much all times.
I mean, but does he
will help him, though.
Does he let someone hold the SNY, and does he hold the Aegis himself here, or does he let someone else on the team take it?
I'm trying to. I think they might put it on Lina over Yules.
Does he get rid of the phase boost to someone so he can rely on the cluster to move?
He did drop the SNY, surprisingly.
He dropped the SNY? Okay.
Yeah. Well, of course he is the main hero that they want to have knocking on the front door and just hitting towers, so maybe for that reason it's okay. We'll probably just keep the courier on backup so that they can fight in immediately if he dies. No, it's a mech flying out for MMY. Very, very late mech for him.
I guess.
I do believe they didn't use it yet, right? He would have had it on him instead of the urn in that case. And they're swapping it for cheese. That will probably go to AA. Actually, DDC carrying around that SNY for now.
Wait, who's got the cheese at the moment on LGD?
The courier.
Oh, they just put it on the courier. Okay, so they're not. Oh, they're keeping the courier on the sidelines. Hook shot from MSS on the sidelines, goes straight on, and there's a Fiend Script onto DDC. Brax, he's got the BKB in, they're trying to fight this one here, looking onto Sylar, but he got the stall buffer, but look at the damage from Ritsu. They've already managed to melt through 3 of the heroes, popping the ages of the gyro, and now Brax is trying to move forward for more. There's the Yule set to the Light Strike holding him back, but Cloud9 are doing a lot of damage here. Sylar, he's going to try and move in and try and fight, looking for Brax here. Brax, he's fairly tanky, is he attacking enough? He needs Ritsu to get himself back in and get the punches for it, and here comes Ritsu, moving forward. They're looking for Sylar, they'll get the slow step with the Skadi. Snowball fought from MMY, they will find the kill onto Brax, but Ritsu's there trying to clean up. Sylar doing work though with their RTK and the Echo Slam. They managed to bring down the Shadow Fiend, and that is now a Shadow Fiend dead for 100 seconds. There'll be buybacks from Brax, buybacks from MSS, but now RTK moving forward, gets the stun onto the Razor. Maybe he's there fighting with death, getting the Laguna Blade in. Now the Snowball forward, they're not done. He's the last man standing, MSS, but not for too longer, as he should go down, and he will. Triple kill for Sylar. GG is called, and LGD take the game 53 minutes in.
That was such a key buyback from I was about to say Xiao, from RTK here on the Shaker. He dies.
Back in.
Boots of travels back into the fight, gets a very good Fisher and Echo Slam off, and they just beat Cloud9 on numbers in that fight. I actually think that was a really good attempt from Cloud9 with the wraparound smoke, the good opening angle that they found. At the end of the day, too much money on LGD, too many items. And of course, I think this was a pretty good showing from Cloud9.
Yeah, they certainly had their highlights.
How hard the early game was